Greetings and Happy New Year, my electric skateboarding comrades. Are here in the Anteater garage working on a new project. Well, in this case, it's an old OG board of mine by the name of Ankle Breaker. It's been around for about 2 years now. I've seen some use and abuse. So the goal of this video and the project is upgrading the deck from this old aging deck to carbon fiber deck that I've built a few months ago, and a few other upgrades along the way that you'll see if you stick around and watch this video. To make risers for the new board, I'm gonna build my risers out of this 4x4 pressure treated wood. The old riser was 20 degrees. I'm gonna make this one 25 degrees to get a little bit better rate of turn. Stand by for the process of making the wedge. Markings for the wedge have been made, and the markings I'm speaking of is the holes to mount the truck and also the angled marking for the, in this case I'm doing a 30-degree angle. And before I cut this diagonally, I'm gonna go ahead and drill my holes vertically so that I don't have to repeat this drilling process on front wedge and the back wedge. Does that make sense? Hope so. Holes have been drilled. The precision of this holes is super important. That's why I use the drill press. Otherwise, if it's all crooked, your board's gonna ride all crooked. So take your time doing this part. more work is needed. Now let's check the fit and cut off unnecessary angles. It's gonna be some on the bottom and some on the top. This is about where the top sits. This will be unnecessary. I can shorten that. And let's see where about the front will sit. Let's line it up and cut it. Back to making cuts. Overall shape of the risers is done. There still needs to be some work done to make these holes on a beveled end line up with the holes of the truck mount. The insides need to be angled in, and I'll show you here why in a little bit. Stay tuned. So when you size the holes on flat side, this distance ultimately becomes longer than what this distance is. It is unavoidable and you have to deal with it. The way I deal with it is I know that these 4 holes do line up to the truck holes. These guys are too wide apart, so I put the truck on. I mark where the holes are. For these holes to work, I have to expand the holes. Actually, just bevel the holes slightly. I'm not going to drill down, just the top surface, like going down probably like an inch or so into the truck. I'm going to do that using a Dremel. Let's see how it turns out. I have adjusted the mounting holes for the wedges. The goal is to be able to see the hole in the bottom. That's what I'm trying to demonstrate here. Overall, I think the design is done. That's how it's going to look like. The hardware I'm going to use to secure this to the truck and to the deck is 1/4 inch diameter bolt. On the short side, I'll need 2.5 inch long 1/4 inch bolt and 4 inch on the longer side. We'll have to go to the store to get that. Before I go to the store, I'm gonna put some putty onto these trucks. This way, when you paint it, it looks nice and solid, like more like plastic, versus it will have the wood pattern if you don't seal it with anything like primer or wood putty. Truck wedges have been puttied up with wood putty and they're drying. I am off to the store. Get me some hardware. To make 1/4 inch hardware work with these trucks, I need to increase mounting hole size to 5/8. So this is a 5/8 drill bit. Drill out 1, 2, 3, 4 front and rear truck. Time to do some sanding. Truck wedges are ready for paint. I got a few more parts that need paint prep. The rims are getting painted. Make sure you bleed out all the air from the tube before you unscrew the bolts, otherwise you can crack the rim. Let's give everything a wipe with alcohol. Get the surface nice and grease free and clean. Rims are clean. Let's tape off the bearings so that when we spray paint, the spray paint does not get into the bearing. Rims are paint prepped, and last thing that I'm paint prepping today are the springs. Will require me taking apart the trucks and taking out the springs and degreasing them. And this is how you extract the springs. One more thing that I'm painting today are the horizontal stabilizer bars. I'm gonna take them off. Prep is done for all these items. Let's get them painted. Everything's ready for paint. And paint we shall. I'm keeping my motors, I'm keeping the battery bay. Both of those things will need to get taken off of this ride and repainted. And before the paint, you know what's next? Paint prep. Best time to prep these motors for paint is while they're still attached to the motor mount. I'm gonna spin those bad boys up and use some sandpaper. Get it nice and smooth. All right, let's take them off. Up next, getting motors painted and motor pulley covers. While motors and pulley covers are drying, I'm starting the pattern for the rim paint. Despite all my efforts, the rims did not come out as clean as I wanted them to come out. The paint kinda got too thick and then dried too fast, cracked, and it just looks like trash. Day 3 and I'm back to it. There's a lot of painting going on. You'll see more of it today. So we're gonna paint the heads of all those bolts in black to match the pattern on the board. I almost forgot to paint my washers. Time for the wheels to be put back together and see how it looks. Here are the wheels. Not as clean of a paint job as I wanted it to, but it will do. Time to figure out how to get this wedges and the base of the truck mount all connected to this board. It will require some finagling to make this 4-inch bolt go through. The board has to go through and bend slightly to accommodate, or bend slightly this way to be able to fit and mount to the truck base. This is a 1/4-inch bolt, so we need wider holes. I'll start there. I'm gonna mark my bolts for bending. So for that I need to put them all the way in and kind of take a note where the bending point should be of each bolt. Bolts have been marked up, short and long. And now we're gonna do a 30-degree bend in this thing to accommodate the angle and be able to secure the truck to the riser. Here's a simple game plan. Use the vise, hold the bolt upright. I made a little 30-degree marker. I'm gonna use a hammer and hammer it whichever way to get my 30 degrees. That's about it. Let's see what happens next. Well, look at here. Bends and bolts are done. Let's do a little fit test now that the bends are done. Make sure that it fits as expected. Fit looks good. I'm able to work with this going forward. Let's mount the truck. Everything has been marked for alignment, and what that means is center line here, center lines, center line, center line, and center line, center line. Next, I'm gonna prep it for assembly. I like to put a little bit of epoxy between the wedge and the deck. Also a little bit of epoxy between the truck base wedge. You'll see here in a minute. One down, one more to go. One, two is done. Now time to get the rest of the suspension back on there. time to get into the belly of the beast and get this belly gently transferred to my new and improved version of ankle breaker. This one would be 3.0. Let's get this show on the road. With the battery bay and ESC bay removed, I want to open her up, clean everything inside. I also want to make room. There should be some room in this compartment for my headlight battery. It used to sit up here in front. So let's take a look what's under and see how this can fit. Once this is situated, I'll get everything ready for paint. Here's the plan for the light and the light switch. Put the auxiliary power battery for the light right here. Charging port will be right next to my original charging port for the main battery. Your on-off switch, I'm gonna have to run some wires to on-off switch on this side. And then from on-off switch, run a wire on this side all the way down to the front side. Probably put an XT60 here, and that's gonna be my plug-in for the front light of the skateboard. F-ton of work. Let's see how this pans out. Here's what I had to do to place the light battery on the inside and put a switch in. Starting with the output. So this will connect to the light in front of the board. Positive, negative run their way back to the light battery. Negative connects directly to the battery. This is positive coming in and positive going out to the battery. Copper plug on the switch that goes to ground on the battery, or negative. This is so that LED light can work. So let's get everything situated next. battery bay and ESC enclosure are ready for paint. Let's make it happen. Everything that needed to be painted has been painted. It's time for putting everything back together. Getting pretty excited. Everything is sealed. Let's get this thing rolling. Oh boy, first signs of life. Up next, probably one of the most important tasks for safety is securing all these wires. All it takes is just one wire getting loose at speed, your motor starts jittering, and you are off. shrink wrap, zip ties, electronic tape, electrical tape, extra sheeting for the wires. No rubbing, no friction, and that's the goal. Got some steel pulleys for the motors as well. Time to light up this ride, starting with the tail light. This is just a common bicycle light you can find on Amazon or eBay. Got a little USB charger. I just took the bracket, plastic bracket that would normally go on the frame of your bicycle, flattened it out by applying some heat, sanded it, and I'm gonna mount it right here behind the motors. And let it be light. Rear light. Front light. That's a helmet light. I've gotten before and I used it on my previous board. Worked out really well. Just one light is pretty powerful, so I don't need two of them. Now just to figure out how to get this thing neatly put on the front axle. To fix the light to the front axle, here's what I did. Use the double-sided sticky tape, the original mounting bracket of this headlight. Goes down like that. And the band that comes with the light. I don't think it's gonna slide or anything like that. The next part, I need to extend this wire and connect it to this XT60 I've put in the front of the battery bay. Heat shrink on. Hopefully my plan will work. If it doesn't, oh fuck me then. Light and the power cable for the light. Plugs in here. I got a little switch on the other side of the board. Got my main switch and it's on. Yeah. How about some strobing? Here's the whole headlight system. On-off switch for the headlight. The battery is in here. Ran the wires from the battery and switch to this XT60 outlet and plugs in into the headlight, as you can see. Pretty good, I think. That means I'm done. Shit, yeah.